The moment you begin to examine how you love, you'll see something profound. You'll discover that the way you love has been shaped by forces far beyond your conscious control. It was never just about who you were attracted to, who you gave yourself to, or the choices you made in relationships. No, it goes deeper, much deeper. It goes into the very core of your psyche, into the blueprint of who you are as a human being. And at the heart of this blueprint lies a truth that might shake you. The way you love has been crafted by shadows, shadows that you cannot escape unless you face them. And at the center of these shadows is the mother, our mothers, the very first goddesses we ever knew, the ones who gave us life, who held us when we were fragile and small, and whose love we learned to depend on. But it is precisely because they gave us life that they also gave us something else, the shadows of their unconscious minds. They gave us the part of them that was never healed, the part of them that was never truly loved, a part of them that still sought validation from the world. And we, the innocent children, absorbed this unhealed energy without ever knowing it. This is not an indictment of motherhood. This is simply the truth about the way humans interact, the way wounds are passed down, generation to generation. This is about the power of unconscious inheritance, the ways we, as children, receive and carry the burdens that were never ours to bear. To understand how your mother's shadow hides in the way you love, you must first understand the nature of that shadow. What is it? What does it want from you? And more importantly, how do you break free from it? You will find that the answers lie in your relationships. Not just romantic relationships, but in the way you interact with friends, family, and the very world around you. Your love is an extension of your unconscious patterns, and until you understand this, you will continue to play out the same painful dynamics over and over again. The wounds you never asked for. Before you even knew what love was, you were learning it from your mother. Whether she was present or absent, kind or distant, nurturing or harsh, you learned to love through her. And as a child, you absorbed everything she gave you. You learned what it meant to be loved, to be seen, and to be valued. But what happens when the love we receive is incomplete, conditional, or based on a sense of scarcity? What happens when we are taught that love is transactional, that it's something you must earn, that it's something you must fight for? That's when the shadows begin to form. We all carry the wounds of our mothers, the unhealed parts of her psyche that were never addressed, never transformed. These wounds are not something you can easily identify because they are wrapped in layers of love, care, and nurturing. But beneath the surface, they linger. The love you received was not always free. It was often wrapped in the expectations she could never voice, the burdens she carried, the unmet needs she never spoke of. And without realizing it, you carry those same burdens now. The way you give love, the way you try to hold on to others, to seek validation, to find affirmation, is deeply influenced by these early experiences. Perhaps you give more than you should, never feeling quite enough, always seeking approval. Or maybe you hold back, afraid to get too close, afraid of being rejected. Either way, the love you give is filtered through the lens of your mother's shadows. You carry her unhealed parts with you, trying to fill the spaces she left empty. And yet, it's not just her absence you feel. It's the presence of her unhealed parts in your own psyche. You try to fill the holes in your heart with the love you never received, but instead, you find yourself replaying the same painful patterns. You try to heal, but the more you give, the emptier you feel. And here lies the crux of the issue. Until you face the shadow of your mother, you will never be able to truly heal. The shadow of abandonment, the fear of not being enough. One of the most profound shadows that mothers pass down is the fear of abandonment. It is a fear that exists deep within the psyche of every child. Even the most loving, attentive mothers unconsciously communicate this fear through their behavior. When a mother is emotionally unavailable, distant, or overly dependent, the child absorbs the idea that love is conditional, that love can be taken away, that love must be earned. This fear of abandonment seeps into every corner of your life. In your romantic relationships, you may find yourself clinging to others, overgiving, afraid that if you don't, they will leave. You may push people away out of fear of being hurt, convincing yourself that if you don't initiate the break, you'll never be left alone. You may even sabotage the very thing you crave because deep down you believe that love is fleeting, that it won't last, that you aren't truly deserving of it. You don't see this as a fear of abandonment because you've learned to disguise it. You've learned to cover it with control, with distraction, with constant busyness. But the truth is, your fear of abandonment is not something you created. It is something you inherited. And until you recognize it, you will continue to project it onto the people you love the most. This fear is often masked by anger, by defensiveness, by a constant need to prove yourself. The shadow of abandonment makes you believe that love is a game, a transaction, that it requires constant effort, constant vigilance. But the truth is, love doesn't require struggle. It doesn't require you to prove anything. It requires only acceptance of yourself, acceptance of others, and acceptance of the vulnerability that comes with truly loving. The mask of perfectionism, striving for the love you never got. Another powerful shadow passed down by mothers is the drive for perfection. When a mother's love is conditional or focused on external success, when her affection seems tied to performance, achievement, or behavior, the child learns to tie their self-worth to these external measures. They learn that love is earned, not freely given, and this belief becomes a lifelong pattern. You may find yourself constantly striving for perfection in every area of your life. You might push yourself to achieve, to be flawless, to be everything everyone expects you to be. You work tirelessly, never feeling quite good enough, even when you achieve success. And in your personal relationships, this perfectionism manifests as a need to be seen as flawless, as someone who can give without faltering. You hide your imperfections, your vulnerabilities, and you withhold love from yourself, believing that if you show your flaws, you will be rejected. But the truth is, your perfectionism is nothing more than the shadow of your mother's expectations. She too may have sought validation through her accomplishments, through her ability to maintain an image of success, and without realizing it, she passed that same drive on to you. You were taught that love is tied to achievement, that you must prove your worth in order to be loved. But what you need to realize is this: love is not earned. It is given freely, without conditions, without judgment. The quest for perfection will only trap you in a cycle of never-ending dissatisfaction. You will always feel like you haven't done enough, haven't given enough, haven't been enough. But when you step out of that cycle, when you stop chasing the unattainable ideal of perfection, you free yourself. You free yourself from the shadow of your mother's unspoken demands. And you learn to love not just others, but yourself, breaking the cycle, reclaiming your power. To free yourself from the grip of your mother's shadow, you must first acknowledge it. You must look at the ways your love has been shaped by her wounds, the fears, the expectations, the unhealed parts of her that you carry inside of you. Only when you see these shadows can you begin to separate them from your own essence. Only when you face them can you reclaim your true power. This journey of reclamation requires courage. It requires you to confront the parts of yourself that have been shaped by fear, by insecurity, by the unconscious desire to gain approval. It requires you to stand in your truth, to accept your imperfections, and to love yourself without the need for validation from others. Carl Jung spoke often about the process of individuation, the journey of becoming who you truly are, apart from the influences and expectations of others. This process is not easy. It involves confronting your shadows, acknowledging your wounds, and understanding the deep patterns that have shaped your behavior. But it is only through this process that you can become whole. And when you become whole, when you reclaim your power, you can love freely. You can love without fear, without conditions, without the need to prove yourself. You can give love without expecting anything in return, and you can receive love without questioning your worth. The final truth: you are not your mother's shadow. You are not the sum of your mother's unhealed wounds. You are not the reflection of her struggles, her fears, or her limitations. You are not defined by the way she loved or by the love you received. You are a unique individual, capable of loving in ways that transcend the limitations of the past. The moment you stop being ruled by the shadow of your mother's love, you begin to discover what true love is. You begin to understand that love is not about earning, not about performance, not about proving your worth. Love is about being fully seen, fully accepted, fully understood, both by yourself and by others. It is about embracing the full spectrum of who you are, the light, the dark, the imperfections, and the beauty. So let go of the past. Let go of the fears, the perfectionism, and the need for approval. Step into the light of your true self. The love you seek is already within you. It always has been. And once you embrace that truth, once you let go of the shadows that have held you captive, you will find that love flows freely. It flows through you, and it will never again be something you have to chase or prove. It will simply be. Love is not what the world tells you it is. It is not some romanticized notion painted by poets or spun by fairy tales. It's not the idealized version that we all chase after, believing it will fix us, heal us, or complete us. The truth about love is much deeper, much darker, and infinitely more powerful. Real love, the kind that transforms, the kind that heals, the kind that transcends all of your fears and insecurities, is not about possession. It is not about ownership. It is not even about two people coming together to make each other whole. Real love is about freedom. It's about two whole beings who are free to be themselves, not out of fear of rejection or abandonment, but because they have already found themselves. They have already healed the wounds that others have left. They are no longer reliant on someone else's love to feel validated. They no longer search for approval or permission or approval. They love not because they need it, but because they choose to give it freely, unconditionally, with no strings attached. And that is the love that transcends the shadows of the past. It is the love that breaks the cycle of fear, of rejection, of abandonment. It is the love that has no need to prove its worth. The moment you start loving yourself in this way, the moment you understand that you are not defined by the wounds of your mother or your past, that's when love will transform you. It will become a force so powerful, so magnetic, that it will create a ripple effect in your life. The love you give will heal the wounds of others, will inspire change in the world, and will create a path to self-actualization, not through external validation, but through deep, unapologetic self-love. You will no longer be living in reaction to the shadow of your past. You will be living in alignment with your highest potential. The power of letting go, surrendering the need for control. When we are children, we believe we have to control everything. We believe that if we are just good enough, just perfect enough, just lovable enough, we can fix all of the things that are broken inside. But in our search for control, we build walls. We build walls that shut people out, walls that prevent us from truly connecting, and we build walls that keep us from fully experiencing the love that is meant for us. Letting go is not an act of weakness. It is an act of power. The power to trust, the power to surrender, the power to release the need to control and accept that things will unfold in their own time, in their own way. This is the essence of freedom. Letting go of the need to control outcomes is what creates space for real love to grow. Think about it. All your life, you have been trying to control every aspect of your relationships, every dynamic in your life. You have tried to force the people you love to behave a certain way, to love you in a certain way, to meet your expectations. But no matter how much you try to control, no matter how tightly you hold onto the reins, the more distant you feel from the very people you're trying to protect. True love comes when you stop trying to control it. It comes when you allow things to unfold naturally. It comes when you trust that everything, including your relationships, will work out exactly as they are meant to. The key is not in forcing people to meet your expectations, but in meeting them where they are, loving them for who they are, and trusting the process of growth and change that happens in each of us. In doing so, you release yourself from the shackles of past hurts, past patterns, and the need to prove anything. You step into a space of peace, where love becomes a natural expression of your being, not something that needs to be earned or controlled. When you love without conditions, when you love from a place of surrender, the world will respond in ways that you never thought possible. The connection between vulnerability and true strength. One of the greatest illusions about love is that it's about being strong, being tough, and never showing weakness. We've been taught that vulnerability is something to fear, something to hide, something to protect at all costs. But in truth, vulnerability is the gateway to true strength. It is not weakness. It is the ability to be open, to be real, to be honest with yourself and with others. Vulnerability is the power to love without the need for validation, without the fear of rejection, and without the worry that you will lose yourself in the process. When you are truly vulnerable, you give others the gift of seeing your soul. You give them the space to love you, flaws and all, without the defense mechanisms you've used to protect yourself. You stop pretending, stop hiding behind the walls you've built, and you allow yourself to be seen in all your raw, imperfect glory. And in that space of vulnerability, love can flourish. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And becoming who you truly are requires a level of vulnerability that most people are too afraid to experience. But it is only through this vulnerability that we can connect with others in a way that transcends the superficial. It's only when we allow ourselves to be seen fully and completely that we invite others to do the same. It is in this exchange of vulnerability that real love is formed. Strength does not come from hiding your emotions, from holding your pain close, or from pretending that you have it all together. Real strength comes when you can allow yourself to feel deeply, to experience pain, joy, fear, and love, without trying to control or suppress any of it. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you allow others to see the real you, the whole you, and in return, you create the conditions for deep, transformative love to take root. Reclaiming your love, the road to wholeness. The journey to reclaiming your love is not an easy one. It will ask you to face your shadows, to confront the ways your mother's wounds have shaped your relationships, your fears, and your insecurities. It will ask you to look deeply within and question the beliefs you've held about yourself, about love, and about your worth. But in doing so, you will uncover a truth that has been there all along. You are worthy of love. You are capable of loving without fear, and you are not defined by your past. This is the path of healing. It is the path of letting go of old patterns, of freeing yourself from the chains that have held you captive for so long. It is the path of reclaiming your love and learning to give it freely, without expectations, without fear, and without the need to control. When you begin to love yourself without conditions, when you allow your heart to open, when you stop searching for external validation, you transform the very fabric of your being. You align with your true self, and in doing so, you align with the universal flow of love that exists within and around you. This is the ultimate freedom. This is the ultimate power. And once you embrace that power, once you reclaim your love, you will see the world through new eyes. You will see that love is not something you need to earn or chase. It is something you already have within you. And when you finally release the shadows that have defined you, you will step into the light of your true self. And that is where your real power lies. You are not bound by the past. You are not defined by your mother's wounds. You are not a victim of the patterns that have shaped your relationships. You are a powerful, sovereign being, capable of loving without fear, of living without limitations, and of creating a life that is rich with authentic connection and true fulfillment. And so you rise. You rise from the ashes of your past, from the chains of your old beliefs, and from the shadows that have haunted you. And in that rise, you become the love you've always sought. You are free. There is a deep, often unspoken truth that rests within every human heart. You are not merely a passenger in your own life. You are the sovereign ruler of your own inner kingdom. But for so many of us, we've relinquished that power, given it away, consciously or unconsciously, to others. We've allowed the voices of authority, of society, of family, and of fear to dictate the terms of our existence. We've been ruled by others' expectations, by their judgments, by their standards of success. And in doing so, we've forgotten the most powerful truth of all. You hold the keys to your own life. You are the one who defines the boundaries, the rules, and the direction of your own journey. When you reclaim your sovereignty, you stop living for others. You stop seeking validation from people who will never understand the depths of your soul, from systems that will never honor your truth. You stop letting the world define your worth, and instead you declare your own worth in your own terms. This is not arrogance. It is an alignment with your true self. It is a recognition that no one else can determine who you are, what you are capable of, or what your life will become except you. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But becoming who you truly are is not an external process. It's an internal revolution. It requires you to break free from the constraints you've been taught, from the conditioning that has shaped your identity, and to rise into the fullness of your potential. It requires you to trust that you are the only authority over your life. And this is the essence of sovereignty, standing tall in the fullness of your own power, unwavering in your belief that you are enough, that you are worthy, and that you are in control of your own destiny. The strength to let go of the need for approval. When you walk the path of sovereignty, you begin to realize that the need for external approval is nothing more than a prison. It's a cage that keeps you small, that keeps you chasing after fleeting, superficial affirmations, that keeps you tethered to the opinions of others. The truth is, no one else's opinion of you matters unless you allow it to. Your worth is not determined by their judgments, their expectations, or their standards. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to stop seeking approval from your parents, your peers, your lovers, your colleagues. Imagine living a life where you no longer needed anyone's permission to be yourself, to speak your truth, to pursue your passions. This is the true meaning of freedom. The freedom to live without fear of rejection, without fear of not measuring up, without fear of not being good enough. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into the molds that society, family, or culture has created for you. You were meant to expand, to evolve, to grow into the fullest version of who you are. When you give up the need for external approval, you give up the chains that bind you to a life that was never truly yours to begin with. You become free, free to express your truth, free to make choices that align with your soul, free to live on your own terms. And that is where your power lies. In the moment you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to be whole, to be worthy, or to be loved, that is when your life begins to unfold in ways you never thought possible. The uncharted territory of self-discovery, the journey to sovereignty, is not a linear one. It is not a simple path with clear, defined steps. It is a journey of discovery, a journey into the deepest parts of yourself, a journey into the unknown territories of your own soul. And just like any journey into uncharted territory, it can be daunting, it can be disorienting, it can be terrifying to step into the unknown and trust that the path will unfold as you go. But the truth is, the unknown is where the magic happens. It is in the unexplored corners of your being that you will find your greatest treasures, your deepest wisdom, your truest desires, your most powerful gifts. When you surrender to the journey of self-discovery, you give yourself permission to step off the well-worn path that others have paved for you and create your own. You allow yourself to be guided by intuition, by inner knowing, and by the sacred truth that exists deep within you. This path is not easy. It will ask you to face your fears, to confront your shadows, and to examine the ways in which you have limited yourself. It will ask you to question everything you thought you knew about yourself and your place in the world. But in that questioning, in that unearthing, you will discover who you truly are. You will discover that you are not the labels that have been placed upon you, not the roles you've been expected to play, not the stories you've been told. You are something far greater, a soul that is infinite, that is limitless, that is bound only by your own beliefs. And when you embrace this journey, when you allow yourself to step into the vast unknown of your own potential, you become the creator of your reality. You become the architect of your own life. You stop waiting for permission to live, and instead you take ownership of your destiny, the power of stillness. Listening to your inner voice. In our fast-paced world filled with noise, distractions, and constant activity, it can be difficult to hear the quiet voice within, the voice that has always been there, guiding you, whispering your deepest truths. But that voice, the voice of your soul, is the most powerful compass you will ever have. It is the voice that knows what you truly want, what you truly need, and what you are truly capable of. When you take the time to be still, to quiet the mind, to step away from the noise and the chaos, you open yourself up to this inner wisdom. Stillness is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is in the moments of silence that you reconnect with your truest self, the part of you that has been overshadowed by the demands of the world. In stillness, you tap into a wellspring of energy, of creativity, and of insight that can only be accessed when you give yourself permission to listen. When you stop searching outside of yourself for answers, and instead listen to the quiet whispers that are already inside of you, you begin to see things more clearly. You begin to understand yourself on a deeper level, and you begin to trust the path that is unfolding before you. Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. In the stillness you awaken. You awaken to the truth that you are the source of your own answers, your own wisdom, and your own power. And in that awakening, you become free to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires. The courage to be seen, living without apology. There is a powerful act of rebellion in simply being yourself unapologetically, fiercely, and without reservation. Too often, we hold ourselves back, hiding parts of who we are, afraid to fully show up in the world because we fear judgment, criticism, or rejection. But the truth is, the world cannot love you fully until you love yourself fully. The world cannot accept you until you accept yourself, all of you. Living without apology means standing tall in the full expression of who you are. It means saying, "This is me, this is my truth. This is my life, and I will not shrink myself to make others comfortable." It means owning your uniqueness, your quirks, your flaws, and your strengths. It means expressing yourself freely, without fear of what others think. When you live without apology, you step into your full power. You stop hiding, stop pretending, stop performing for others. You allow the world to see you as you truly are. And in doing so, you invite others to do the same. You create a ripple effect of authenticity, of vulnerability, and of courage. And in that space, true connection happens not based on who you think you should be, but on who you truly are. And when you live without apology, you will find that you attract those who resonate with your authentic energy. You will find that you are no longer seeking validation from the outside world, because you've already validated yourself. You've already claimed your worth. And in doing so, you've created the conditions for real, unshakable love and connection to enter your life. You are the author of your own life. So now, as you stand at the crossroads of your journey, remember this: you are the author of your own life. You are the one who gets to decide how your story unfolds. The past does not define you. The wounds do not control you. The expectations of others do not bind you. You have the power to create, to evolve, to heal, and to live in a way that is authentic to your deepest truth. Step into that power. Own your sovereignty. Reclaim your inner kingdom, and live with the unwavering belief that you are capable of creating a life that is beyond your wildest dreams. This is your story. Write it well.